Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we will have a little discussion about rabies. So what is rabies? The rabies virus is a virus that is transmitted through direct contact through broken skin or mucous membranes in your eyes, nose, or throat with the saliva or even brain or nervous system tissue from an infected animal. It is fatal, although there are rare cases of survival. However, rabies is preventable. Typically, it spreads to people and pets if they are bitten or scratched by a rabid animal. When the animal bites or scratches you, most typically from a bite, however, it moves slowly along your nervous system and into your central nervous system, that is the spinal cord and eventually your brain. When it reaches the brain, the damage causes neurological symptoms, and from there, rabies leads to coma and eventually death. Rabies is found on every continent in the world except for Antarctica, although it's mostly common in rural parts of Asia and Africa. It does happen in the U.S., typically with wild animals. In the United States, however, most often it will be transmitted through a bat bite rather than a dog bite like in Asia or Africa. Now, there are 4 basic stages of rabies, first of which is incubation. That is, the rabies virus can spend days or even weeks in your body after you've been bitten before it actually gets into your nervous system. You don't typically have any symptoms during that time. So if you have been bitten, if you receive treatment early, likely you won't get the rabies. If the rabies virus passes the incubation stage, you go into the prodromal stage. It travels through your nervous cells into your brain and your spinal cord. It causes severe nerve damage as it goes along. The prodromal phase starts when the rabies has entered your nervous system. Your immune system tries to fight it off. It will cause flu-like symptoms when it does. Nerve damage might cause tingling, pain, and numbness in the area where you were bitten that could spread, and it usually lasts anywhere from 2 to 10 days. It's commonly understood that there are not very effective treatments when rabies has reached this point. The next stage is the acute neurologic phase. During this phase, rabies starts damaging your brain and spinal cord. About 2/3 of people have furious rabies with symptoms like aggression, seizures, and delirium. These are the people that look like zombies. Others have paralytic rabies with severe weakness and paralysis progressing from the bite wound to the rest of the body. Furious rabies can last a few days to a week. Paralytic rabies can last up to a month. And then the last stage, coma. Many people will enter a coma in the final stages of the rabies infection. Rabies eventually leads to death after this. The coma, of course, is the body's last-ditch effort to preserve the brain. But by this point, so much damage has been done, survival is not likely. So again, to reiterate symptoms, if you have been bitten, initially in the incubation phase, you're not going to have any symptoms. But when you enter the second stage, the prodromal symptom stage, you may experience fever, tiredness, burning, itching, or tingling around the bite area, or even numbness, cough, sore throat, muscle pain, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. The acute neurologic stage which often includes the furious rabies symptoms. You'll see people with aggression and agitation, restlessness, seizures, hallucinations, muscle twitching, fever, a racing heartbeat, hyperventilation, excessive drooling, different sized pupils in the eyes, facial paralysis, a fear of water, otherwise known as hydrophobia, a fear of air being blown in the face, aerophobia, and delirium. On the other hand, if you have the paralytic rabies symptoms, that would be fever, headache, neck stiffness, weakness, starting from where you were bitten, progressing into the rest of the body, tingling sensation, especially starting where you were bitten and progressing into the body, paralysis and coma. Again, particularly in the United States, most often if you catch rabies, it was from the bite of a bat, although it can be found in skunks, raccoons, foxes, cats, dogs, and so on. Almost any mammal can catch rabies and transmit it, but predominantly it will be a bat bite in the United States, in the Northern Hemisphere, and very often you may not even realize that you had been bitten by a bat because the pinpricks from their bite is so small you may not have even felt it when you were bitten. It's a good idea to get checked out if you were exposed to bats, whether you realized you were bitten or not. If you think you may have been bitten, seek medical attention. Tell them how you got hurt, what kind of an animal you think scratched or bit you, where that animal might be. Express what the behavior of that animal was, just in case it is a rabid animal and it needs to be found by animal control. They may test your saliva. They may take a biopsy of the bite. They may take a blood test. They may even do a spinal tap or an MRI on you to determine whether or not you have the infection. There are vaccines that can be administered in the early stages or before symptoms occur that will prevent rabies from progressing through your body. So again, if you believe you've been exposed to rabies, bitten, scratched by possibly an infected animal, get to a doctor, get to a hospital immediately. Make sure that you thoroughly clean any wound obtained that way with soap and water, and get yourself to a healthcare provider. They will give you a series of shots, vaccinations that is, to prevent the virus from causing the rabies. They may also give you an antibody treatment directly to the wound to help prevent against any possible spread. Now, it is possible to survive rabies beyond the prodromal stage, where typical vaccination would no longer work, by inducing a coma in the patient. People have survived this way. It is rare, though. As I alluded to earlier, the coma stage before death is very likely the body's last-ditch effort to protect the brain, but by this point so much damage has been done, survival's not likely. A hospital that artificially induces a coma in earlier stages could potentially save that patient. It has been done, but it's very rare. Your best medicine in the case with rabies is preventive medicine to get ahead of it as quickly as possible, or don't put yourself in that situation at all. I would hope most people would be smart enough not to mess around with wild animals or strange animals that they're not familiar with. Some dog that you pass on the street, for example, leave it alone. A lot of people think, oh, animal's cute, let me touch. Bad idea. You don't know how they're going to react. You don't know if they're sick with rabies or something else. leave them alone. Be smart about it. If you feel like you've been exposed, get on it as quickly as possible. Otherwise, you'll end up like a zombie and fade away. If there's anything I've missed, feel free to post it in the comments section down below. Please do give the video a thumbs up if you got anything out of this. I hope that you did. Share it if you can. Subscribe if you are new. Check out some of the other content. And if that is it, then what more can I say but stay frosty, folks, and thanks for watching.